Is black, should I say Black Series Edition. ILEG technology screens. Grab me some sticky notes or sticky paste, whatever we can put this up against here. So what you're seeing is that red surface right there. This is being projected onto our screen with a Pico projector. So my Pico projector, Magsonic. I think it's the PP1 something 71, but I'll put the information below. This is Taco Land, my motion support cat that chills over here. Hopefully doesn't do anything crazy on camera, which he likes to do all the time. But anyway, I explained this before that at one point we had over 70 projectors in our arsenal, and having all those projectors in your arsenal, of course, you're going to test it on just about everything that comes in your path. And I test a lot of gray screen paint out there, and guess what? It doesn't run on these projectors at all. It doesn't work. So this is my little projector right there. I finally figured out, I was looking at the stand, I was like, I bet you the tripod fits on my camera stand, and it does. Unfortunately, the Cumi doesn't have one, which I would have thought it would have had one, but it doesn't. Maybe it's an adapter piece I gotta buy for it, I don't know. But anyway, I'll show you. So, this is some gray screen paint right here. And reason why when you watch these demonstrations of people doing these demonstrations, they'll be in a dark environment, they'll have the projector right on top of the screen, there's no comparison screen there at all, and I say, look, it works on this projector. And technically it doesn't, because honestly, think about it. Even if you're showing it on the screen, where's the contrast? Are you picking that up too? You're not picking up the contrast. There you go. Let's skip that altogether. They don't talk about that part, right? We'll just skip that part altogether. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my stand around with my projector on it. I'm going to put it in this direction, like this, right? And I'm going to take the gray. Now, if you look at this, you're thinking, okay, it's picking a red. No, that's actually washed out. That's not red. Because there's no comparison screen landing in, so they have it on a standalone by itself. Now, I do this because, again, people have been misinforming people by making statements that they can't back up. And you have to back these statements up. You can't have these things on standalones, because when you do that and you darken your environment, you cheat your customers from the door. So, see right here? Looks like it's picking up a nice red, right? Okay, so let's stick it over here next to our black technology, right? And then let's do it. There you go. Now you see it? Yeah, there you go. Guess what else would have done this to this screen? Now, our screen picks up because our screen reads red. But any form of the gunmetal screens that have heavier contrast levels, they would have beat the crap out of this screen. I told you, I did it in the garage with a black diamond 1.4, and it picked up far better than a gray screen. And there you go. Gray screens don't read color. Not even at 50 lumens, 720p. I can take the projector, I can bring it all the way up as close as I can to the screen. It won't work. See? It can't read it. So that's why when people are telling you that upgrade to a gray screen, it'll fix all your problems. No, it'll create more problems because it does not read. It doesn't have the capability. Now our technology can pick up at 50 lumens because again, we engineered to do so. It has that capability. I can do this all day long. So as I told you before, no, you can't see color. You don't pick it up. But if I take it on a standalone and I stick it here like this without no superior screen in front of it, and I put it here like this, now you think you're seeing red. But technically you're not seeing red. Now anyone's used to seeing black screens all day long, we can see the color change. If you're not used to seeing black screens all day long, you can't see it. So, nope, you're not seeing red. You're not picking. Look at that. Look how weird that gets. And even when you get too light to parts of the screen, so much light washes the screen out, yeah, they do this. So if you bring it close to the screen, tell you these projectors have a lumen count, 50 lumens. 50 lumens is adding an additional 50 lumens to your picture. So you bring it up closer, your image starts to wash out. Ugh. Now we have to do all these tests all the time, you know that, right? If I take mine, I'm going to bring mine close right here, bring it back, it still maintains this red. And if I stick this right here in front, your image doesn't pick up. So let me show you all the different colors you can't read. And I've seen people do these demonstrations on 50 lumen projectors, and they'll have the projector sitting right where it's sitting right now. This distance right here, they'll have it on a standalone by itself, which means there's no other screen to compare it to, and they'll go, look, I'm picking up an image. No, your image is not coming up. Where is, and I've heard you pop over there a couple minutes, where's the controller? this over here. So I've seen people fake these demonstrations, and they'll go in, like I said, they'll go in and get a standalone, take a projector, put it this close to the screen, and says, look, I'm picking up an image. No, your colors are not even there. So let's go over to, let me see. Let's go to search. Top, I'm going to go now for a blue screen. Or we should just go for the whole slow color changer, to tell you the truth, honestly. Let me see. Where are microphones at in here? Gotta find my microphone system. Gotta make my job so much easier. Let me get microphones. You see, you don't even read the menu. The menu won't even come up. Because our screen's black, so it can read a 100% black level, where the gray is not picking up anything at all. This is what I'm used to seeing. When I watch demonstrations with gray screens, and I see them pull up the YouTube menu comes up in two colors. It comes up in gray, and it comes up in, I'm sorry, it comes up in black, it comes in white. That's it. There is no gray. Check for yourself. So if you're not reading it with the blacks pulling, that means you have to stick to the white levels, because the whites will fade less. So when they try to bring up a contrast level, they'll stick to white levels. These are certain things we see in demonstrations that allows them to know that they're trying to mask or camouflage. Now, here we go, found it. We've got some individuals that are very upset that our screen over here made a gray screen turn unwatchable. Well, it does what it's supposed to do. If you feel at the end of the day that it's not true, well, you know, we got court. Take me to court. You know where I'm at. Get a lawyer. Take me to court. That's all you got to do. And that's it. But no one's jumping for that. Why is no one jumping on that? Oh, counter lawsuits. That's why. A counter lawsuits are about $500,000 if you get caught with one of those things. So, yeah, if you take me to court and you can't back it up, we're going to sue you with a counter lawsuit. It's going to cost you $500,000 or more. Depends on how much of my time you waste. So that's not going to happen. Just a lot of talk. That's basically about it. But it's true. Your stuff doesn't work. So with that being said, you don't want to go on YouTube and you don't want to back it up, but you just want to cry about it. I came out of a forum site. There were so many people crying about their products. It wasn't even funny. But you got to face the truth. Can't lie. What do you think? The customer is not going to find out? You think that you're going to basically just lie about it and the customer is going to believe everything you say? Customer is going to test your product. They're going to turn the lights on in their environment. They're going to check their contrast levels. I spent for a projector 2 million to 1 contrast. And you mean to tell me I'm not going to test that out on a projector I just invested that kind of money into? Yeah, I'm going to test it and see if your product can read it. Why not? 4K slow screensaver. Oh, that was the wrong one. It actually read it too. Let me see. I know what that is. That's the slow-mos. We don't want the slow-mos. 4K slow screensaver. Oh, why do I keep asking for that? That's not what I want. Slow color changer. There we go. Duh. Slow color changer. And yet we get spell color changer. You figured that one out? I don't even know what that is. Slow color changer. There we go. We're going to go through all the random colors real quick. It's just better than me going through blue, green, and all that stuff like that. Just hit it in one hit and be done. Now, like I said, I bring that up because, again, as I said before, if you feel the need that this is wrong, what I'm doing right here is incomplete, you can always hire an attorney and sue me. But you can't. I've been asked, how long have I been saying that? I've been saying that for the last 4 years. I've been making that statement. You see Mr. Bird going to court? Nah. You know why? Because they can't back it up. That's why I can't get an attorney, because everybody knows at the end of the day, there's no way in the world gray screen is going to be to read color. There's no way in the world it's going to read 100% contrast. There's no way in the world it's going to be ambient light rejection technology. Heck, it even states at the end of the day that if you're using a 4K projector or even an HD projector, you're not supposed to have them on gray screens. So again, no. You wouldn't win that one at all. Colors washed out. Do. There you go. That's why you calibrate. You calibrate because your colors don't come out correctly. That's why you have to. Literally just came out of a forum site. Guy was talking about this, that, and the other. I said, no. He has, I got it on 50 lumens right here, right on my screen. All right. Where's the comparison at? Comparison what? Where's the comparison? You have another screen you compare it to with a much more higher advanced screen, showing that you're matching the higher advanced screen. That's the same as your product right here. It's much better than the higher advanced Surface. Got any certifieds up there or anything? We don't need, we do what you mean don't need anything. I can't just go by that. I have to have a comparison up there. That's like if I told you this is a black screen we have here. It doesn't match any form of black house paint. I can't make that statement. I got to show you that it doesn't match any house paint. That's why we have all the demonstrations on our YouTube channel, because you have to show this. You can't just, that's not going to work. How's that going to work? I'm not going to take your word for it. You got to show me. All right, so colors ain't reading. All right, so let's go over and let's get some contrast in here. Oh, we got to get some snow levels too. I'm going to snow levels first. I like those better. 4K snow screensavers. Now, think about it here for a minute. I do this all the time. I show our white levels off constantly all the time in all different types of demonstrations. How come we can't get one gray screen and a fully lit environment to go, Starfield, contrast levels only? We never see that. Why? Because they can't do it. They'll be in the dark. And that tells you right there that that's exactly where you're going to be at, in the dark. So let's see if the 50 lumens, it's not bright enough. Maybe we might be requiring higher. Oh, no, we don't. This is a quantum technology. It's designed to produce amazing high white levels. God forbid if anyone got on camera and made a statement that we are required to use high-end projectors in order to get a screen to register. That will not go well. Just want to put that in there. It's not a good statement to make. Let's go over here. I want to get some more of these snow levels, 4K snow screensavers. We're lacking on the white levels. Come on. Give me some good stuff. Snow screensavers. Give me some lacking. What's the bright snow level? Oh, we got Snow Wolf right here. They get scared when I mention certain keywords. Yeah, you should be. We're taking a lot of people to court. A lot of people are going to court and getting sued. Made some very bad statements. You got to back those up. It ain't something you can run in from at the end of the day, like you can make the statement and then run off YouTube. No, it's something called a private investigator. His job is to track you down, figure out where you lay your head at the end of the day, where you work at, where you go to school at, where you go to church at, whole 9 yards, everything. And that way that we can send documents to your front door that says, hey, we're suing you because you made statements about my company that weren't true, and now I'm going to take everything from you. That's what that stands for. Like any company will do the exact same thing. So yeah, don't think at the end of the day you can run and go anywhere. Nope. That's already been taken care of. I was doing all that when they were doing the coast crash. We had a private investigator digging through their stuff. That's how much evidence we've been digging up on them. So ain't no place to go. You're just gonna have to face that hit. And that hit is pretty bad. We even have trace on all emails that came here, emails that want to replace ours. We got contacts on everything. Not gonna go well. But anyway, 50 lumen doesn't read. And you know they're going to cry about it. They always cry about it. But it's true. If I'm wrong on this, if this is fake, this is not real, this is all illusion of imagination, somehow I got some mind control powers, I don't know, you take me to court. Just like I'm taking you to court for making false statements about my product, take me to court. Bet you lose. Yeah, our stuff is all tested. That's why we can do this at 50 lumens. Kaboom! Kaboom! Yeah, there we go. Let's see. Let's grab some more white levels. Now, you see me coming here doing a lot of white level demonstrations. This is what you're supposed to see when you see a gray screen trying to display in a fully lit environment. You're supposed to see contrast levels. Lots of contrast levels. Because I can take that light gray paint we made over there versus this paint we paid for over here and put them together, and you really couldn't tell one from the other. That's why you got to be to show a difference. And it can't be a hiccup, like a little bump, like saying, oh, right there. No, no, no. What else we got here? Can I get a, we're lacking in that right there. I want to get a, over. There we go. Starfield screensaver. The biggest lie ever told was when a gray screen made the announcement that they could read 100% contrast. And when they used dark environments to manipulate the environment to try to produce darker contrast levels, including projectors with massive amounts of inky contrast to try to fool the consumer that they were picking up these contrast levels. Not good. You know the consumer is going to turn the lights on, right? Yep. And if we're outside doing demonstrations, what's the consumer going to do? They're going to go outside with it. Do you see my customers outside? Yeah, you do, don't you? See them out inside with fully lit environments like we do? Yes, you do. All right, then. That's what you're supposed to do. Now, what would happen if they had to go on site? Not a control area. Control on site, I've seen those. These are where people know them. And you're in that church, man, those lights should have been on. Every single light in that entire church should have been on. Should have been none of that. Well, are all the lights on? You could tell the lights were on. The fire exits were dark. There's no way in the world they're using that area is not fully lit. I can count about 30, 40 lights in there that should have been on, and they weren't on. So when he recorded it, he made sure he recorded it when the lights were off in certain areas near the screen that would cause the screen disruption. And then to sit there and say that would look better once we calibrate it. You got to calibrate it in that environment. All the lights are not even on. So yeah, no, complete fail. The light should have been fully on. Now, when I stuck a screen through a window, there's no ambient light controlling in that situation at all, period. I mean, you're dealing with outside elements that are striking the screen. How would we even get around that? That's virtually impossible. So, no, can't do that. And the environment we're in, they were working in that environment, so can't be dimming lights in there because there were no lights to dim because the electrical work wasn't done yet in that section, so they just had all lights on, so we were used to operating in that environment anyway. The carrying place we were in, can't go in there dark in that environment. You got people walking through that whole entire building all day long. That's impossible to do. So we operated in there with no problem whatsoever because we're used to that. And yeah, they wouldn't have done well in there. We tested it already. So as you can see, no contrast at all. No contrast, none at all, period, being picked up. So gray screen cannot read a contrast level. Now, if you're out there stating that your gray screen is different from this one, then that means that you should be to show a demonstration that looks like that. Your gray screen should be reading this way. Since your gray screen doesn't read this way and it reads that way, that means you're not picking up a contrast level. And no judge on the face of the planet is ever going to believe that a gray screen is going to have the ability to pick up a higher contrast than a much darker screen. They'll laugh you out of the courtroom. You're going to have to prove that one at the end of the day. We're all going to be looking like, I got to see this one. They'll probably be calling people from the other courtroom like, you got to see this. This guy's claiming that he's got a gray screen that can pull up a level like a black surface. He can read the same contrast. You know, come over from another courtroom and see that. It ain't happening. So that's why they got to stop lying about that. So, no read at all, as you can see. And then for some people saying, well, once you turn the lights out, well, that's where you're at anyway, right? In the dark. Because that's the problem. Yeah, that's why you're in the dark. That's why we have people saying that turn the lights out. Yeah, because that's where you have to be at, because your screen doesn't function correctly. What's the use of having a projector at 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 lumens, and you're ultra short throw, which means you're kissing the screen. You're right on top of it, and you're still in the dark with that? That's a wake-up call for you right there. All right, let's have some fun here. I'm going to flip it over to this. Let's see what we're going to do. We're going to bring our star field up. I'm going to show you the environment that they have to be in because 50 lumens is not going to register on this screen, so it's not going to happen. And white screen's just as worse, just so you know. So, guess what? Ta-da! You still can't read. Because the problem is when you turn out a gray screen, lights on a gray screen, this is what they pick up and they consider that to be black. That's not black, that's gray. I can take a cell phone and I can kill your screen right now. Now, I'm not talking about one person. I'm talking about all gray screens, whether it be certified, whether it be house screen paints or whatever it is at the end of the day, whatever it may be. It doesn't read a contrast level. You can't pick it up. And contrast is very important because contrast shows up in movies, it shows up in games, it shows up in sports. Anywhere you got a black level, you're going to pick up a contrast level. So let's put our flashlight on. Now, simple cell phone flashlight. Look, already. I didn't even hit the screen yet with it. Imagine what color it's going to do. Because it doesn't have ambient light rejection technology. It can absorb its gray screen. See that? Simple flashlight for my cell phone. Put it over here in the corner. Put my hand over here. Still washes out. Put it over top of my head. Still washes out. Put it behind the back of my head like I'm voguing. And that moved off like heck no, I'm off of here. Yep, it doesn't make a difference. Watch this. Get that in there nicely. Hopefully it stays. Back it up. Anywhere I put the light at. It doesn't read. So what happens is, where some people think they're upgrading with a gray screen, you're actually downgrading. That's what you're doing. You're not getting anything at all from your projector. We can get the most out of this projector right here at 50 lumens. We can get color, contrast, white levels, the whole 9 yards off this projector, where this gray screen is not going to give you the contrast. It doesn't give you proper color. If you give you white levels, that's basically about it, but that's all you're going to get. And the sacrifice field is way too high. All right, let's do a little experiment here. Let's grab basic red. Let's just get some red in there. Bum, bum, bum. Now, some people will take this personally and say, oh, it's not about you. Do you know how many people make gray paint besides you? A lot of people make gray paint. I'm on forum sites all the time about gray paint. Yep. So a lot of people make it, believe it or not. Not one person only makes it. A lot of people make it. And a lot of people have been making this same gray paint long before I ever came on YouTube, long before he ever existed on YouTube. People were making it way back then. There was a company called Goose Green. They were out before everybody else was. Not for everybody else, probably pretty sure people, but I remember they were up way before me, I was. So they were making it. So yeah. Yeah, some people just take that too far and go, oh, they're only talking about me. No, no, no. Everybody, other people make this stuff. You go on YouTube, you type in free gray paint, is all over the place. You can find it anywhere. Anywhere. The only reason why some people say theirs looks different than everybody else's is because they're using a high-end 4K projector to alter, change, and manipulate. They're darkening the environment to alter, change, and manipulate. They're calibrating to alter, change, and manipulate the image. That's what they're doing. But if you really want to see a real test, have them take multiple gray versions and stick it next to their screen and see which one pulls better color and contrast in a fully lit environment. And I mean a massive change like this. Not no hiccup. Not a little slight, small difference. Massive change. Because in that slight, small difference, imagine if one was 10,000 and one was $1. Which one would you pay for? Just human behavior. You would pay for the one with $1 if it was just a small little difference you really couldn't tell. Now, if it was a massive difference like this, then you would spend the money. Because you can see the difference with no problem. You know, if you have to be that close to a screen to see it, there's a problem there. So I can stand here and I can see the difference. Bum, 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 bum. Go here, difference. Do-do. Do-do, do-do. Do-do. Got to do that. That's what you have to do. If you can't do that on camera and you can't show the difference between night and day, then there's a problem there. If you got to be that close to the screen at a finger's distance to show the difference, there's a problem there. Because if I have to be this close, which I'm not going to be sitting this close to the screen to begin with, I'm going to be back here to watch my screen. There we go. All right, let me see. What else we're going to do here? Oh, cell phone washout. Okay, it's like, what are you doing over there? Why are you jumping around? Why are you so giddy? Why are you jumping around? I literally just did this in a forum site. Just did this in a forum site. All right, color bleed out. Let's begin. Already started. That's it. That's all it takes. Colors go on. Simple basic cell phone. 50 lumens. Gray screen is bleeding out. Look at that. We can make the color disappear. Comes back in again. Share again slowly. Put the light over top. Bring it down. Color bleed out. Hit it from here. From way back here. Color bleed out. See? Got it right over top of my cell phone. Right there. So, bottom line is, what comes from all of this is the fact that if you think you're upgrading with a gray screen, you have now basically, put it in a nicer term, disrespected your projector at the end of the day. Because again, you're not giving your projector the full benefit of what it's designed to do. I mean, you spend all the time and do the research on finding the right projector for your setup, and then you turn around and you stick it on a gray and white screen and you downgrade it. And it's just pointless. It's like find a brand new Dixie cup and you fill it with water, and then somehow you just take a pencil and you just rid it with pencil holes all over it, and now the cup is just rendered useless. That's what comes to your projector. You render it useless. Can't use it once it has a bunch of holes in it, right? All right, then, and that's what you do when you basically paint your screen gray, thinking you're upgrading it. You just basically, you know, took a lot away from your projector. And if it's white screen, you're definitely taking a lot from it, because white screens don't read for jack. They don't. Period. Period. Let me show you something. Let me show you something. I have fun doing these demonstrations. Like I said, I just came out of a forum site having the same conversation in there. You know, when the guy was saying, all you do is talk. Oh, you say all I do is talk, right? Okay, I'll show you a few things. Yeah, when I got done that room, they all left the room. Yeah, that's right. You actually just talk. No, I back myself up because I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm talking about. There we go. When they sit there and say, oh, you just make black paint all the time? Oh, do you have any idea the Pandora box you just opened? When I show them the history under digital and crystal screen paint, they are just jaw dropped on how much of that paint I've actually made in that period of time. And not only that, the price it sold for. The people that backed it, the beta testers, customers, even contracts underneath that product, that's far past of what they're doing right now today. That is the end of the conversation from there. I know your product. I know your product better than you know your own product. Ha! Bam, 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 bam. Oh, I'm in a white screen form site too. I'm in there too on top of that too. Because white screens, they have their own form site, and they feel that their screens at the end of the day pull a higher, better color because the screen's white, and for some reason they're backwards because they think for some reason that the whiter the screen or the higher the white level, the better the color. You guys are backwards. It's not that. That don't even work either. And they don't work at all, period, at all. So they don't pick up nothing. They don't register jack. I'm right up on top of the screen right here. It doesn't work. And if for some people think today, well, if I get a higher lumen projector, bad idea. Because now you're introducing a higher lumen count to your screen, which is going to cause it to wash out even faster. It's already stressed out already. It's going to be stressed out even worse if you're sitting up there and you have more light, including the light from your projector striking your screen. So that's not going to work either. So at 50 lumens, we can read. Let's get some colorful up there, some nice colors. What the heck is this? It's commercial. Notice on the R's it's picking up? Yeah, because that's what our technology does. And now you see why people fear, or people love our technology, but you know why other people at the end of the day, they hate our technology. That's why. Because we can back it up 100%. You know, when I go on site, I bring these projectors with me. These are the demonstrations we do on site. Bam, 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 bam. Bam, 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 bam. Taco, taco, taco. Hey, let's go over here and have a little fun with this. Let's bring up a white level. Really? What you making us wait for the white for? Huh. There we go. There's our white levels right there. Now, the problem is when people look at a white level on a technology, it's low. Actually, no, it's not low. It's actually a tone that comes up. Your screen generates too much white light, you can't see contrast. Doesn't push enough contrast, you can't see contrast either, which means your color levels fail, as I showed you with the red. See? Your white levels are balanced are way off. But they have to be high enough to be able to not go dark like the black paint. So you have to figure that out too. And then they had to work on multiple caliber projectors, distance throw, fully lit environments, commercial environments, indoor, outdoor, different types of calibers of projectors. You know what I'm getting at. So by the time you reach that stage, you should have roughly included about maybe about 200-300 videos on this. Yeah, quite a lot. For each product you design. Each product you design has to have that much testing. So you must be roughly somewhere in the range of somewhere between 20 to 30 tests per product. There you go. That's where you're missing. So gray and white screen on a 50 lumen projector ain't working. Ain't working at all. Ain't happening, Jack. Let's go over here. Oh, wait, we got next city guidelines. Let's hit this right here, this city. Look at that. Bum, bum, bum. Let's get that real black level in there. There we go. No, no, that one over here. There we go. Boom. Look at that. See? Only we read at 50 lumens. So that's why when I do demonstrations and we have a projector, say the projector's sitting this close to the screen, and then we'll have somebody come like, oh, that's the reason why your screen's picking up, because you're that close. Here's a news flash for you. Even if your screen was that close, it still couldn't read next to our technology. If I take a 50,000 lumen projector and I stick this against my screen's going to read it, yours won't. If I take 3,600 lumens, ultra short throw, your screen can't read it. I did that on the floor with the lights out. Gray and white screen didn't register. And if I do this at 1,500 lumens, 800 lumens, 200 lumens, 50 lumens, it doesn't make a difference what lumen caliber I pick. The gray and white screen can't read it. That's what that comes down to. See? See how the blues come up on ours? Blues doesn't read there, doesn't read there. So it really doesn't make a difference. You can't pick it up. So if I'm sitting there right on top of a screen and someone says, oh, but you're close to the screen, I can stick your product up there. I bet you won't read. It can't. It's not going to read it. Problem I see with screens that are claiming to be black, issue with those problems is the fact that their white levels are extremely low and they do not have enough white on white demonstrations at low lumens and fully lit environment demonstrations to see where their white levels register. And already I'm seeing from the door that their screens are coming up really dark when it comes to the colors, which tells me right from the door they have a difficult time reading white light. On top of that, they have to do multiple projector swap outs, including 50 lumens, 1000 lumens, and so forth. And we should bring out Old Faithful. Starfield screensaver. Let's get the contrast here. Boom, knock that out real quick. There we go. And you see our only one screen that reads. Simple and plain, easy. All right, take that out real quick. Let's go over and let's grab some white levels, which I like to do, which we never see gray screen to those black levels. 4K snow screensavers. Here we go. Yep, commercial. We're not doing that. No, that's a whole freaking movie right there. Literally, it's a whole movie in there. There's 40 seconds in there, or 40 minutes. There we go. So to say my screen would come up so dark and unwatchable, like I said, not good for some people. They'll have to go to court for this pretty soon. We can do it at 50 lumens in the courtroom. Still standing better than I ever did. Yeah, my stuff is all tested. Now, for those you're saying, what does he mean by courtroom? We're suing a bunch of people. And yeah, some are going to receive some very lengthy jail time because they committed fraud against my company and they went on their YouTube channel and did false demonstrations against our product, making false claims that our products came out so dark they were unwatchable. So they're looking at about 7 years of fraud they committed against our business, and this is going to carry a 30-year prison sentence and millions of dollars in fines and lawsuits for making false statements that weren't true because they were threatened by our products. But until then, as you can see, gray screens don't read at all, period. White screens don't read at all, period. And if you think this is going to be an upgrade for your projector, you're going to be sadly mistaken on how bad it's going to get. Because again, you can't read color, you can't read contrast, it's not going to pick up. You can pick up a white level, that's basically about it, but guess what else can pick up a white level? A white screen can pick one up, and a white screen can pick up a white level far better than a gray screen can. So if it comes to white levels, if you're talking about more superior, higher white levels, that would be the white screen. So where does the gray screen follow at? Nowhere. It can't read contrast levels because that would be our category. We would pick up the highest contrast level because our screens are black. When it comes to white levels, well, they can't compete with the white screen because the white screen pulls up the highest white level. And this is mine. This is the Quantum. This is our screen paint technology. What about the one we have over there? The one that can make this screen unwatchable because it draws all the energy out of the screen. So in that technology over there, this screen is completely obsolete because it can't pull a white level next to it because the screen pulls up a much higher white level. Black screen, yes. Going to be showing that demonstration next. I love those. And it pulls up a higher contrast level. Isn't that interesting? Tron 4K. And nope, your movies, all that stuff will not run. Sports won't run. None of that will run at all, period. Because the gray screen will not allow you. Now, for those people that are sitting in these super dark environments with high-end projectors at the end of the day, we've tested your stuff already. We already know from the door what it does. And it does not function as you claim it does. It can't read. There you go. That's how much you're missing right from the door when you use a gray and white screen. So they think if they give you the gray screen, it's supposed to be a benefit over the white screen. It isn't much at all. If you see, you're not really getting much. And we're 50 lumens 720p. So you're not getting much. All right, I'm going to put this into a short, make it one of our promo demonstrations. And we'll do this straight on the movie right here and just show it off so you can see exactly what you're missing. But as I've said before, it doesn't make a difference what projector you buy, if it's 4K, 7, it doesn't make a difference. It doesn't make a difference on its contrast capability, its lumen capability, caliber, ultra short though, long through whatever. It's not going to read on your gray and white screen. You're getting less. You're a little better here than this, but you're still, at the end of the day, you're not doing better. You're not. That's why our technology is much more advanced. All right, hope you enjoyed. Thank you for your time. And I like to do these fast demonstrations. I'm getting better and better with my time here. I'm loving this. I'm getting better with my time. I'm practicing with the lives to get them faster because, again, you know what I mean? I don't want to kill too much time. I got other things to do, and I want to show you more stuff. So we're going to do a short promo demonstration. We're going to do the Tron. We're going to show the screens off side by side. Lights on, lights off. Show you exactly what you're missing, and we'll go from there. Boom. All right. Hope you enjoyed. Of course, we thank our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for blessing us with amazing technology. If it wasn't for Him, none of this would ever be possible. Gotta go, and God bless.